All right, hello again, everyone. We are now looking at the Access app on screen. And from installing the app on my mobile device, I now have two options. I can sign in to my existing Access profile, which again we have covered earlier in our session. And again, you will want to make sure that you have signed in through your institution subscription, online or on campus. And so if you have done so, you can actually go ahead and select Sign In. And from here, you will enter in your username and password. If you already had an existing account and you don't remember your username or password, you do, of course, have the options to select to send an email address to remind you of your username. And we do have additional help options there if you're not seeing an email or need other help. And keep in mind that you also can, of course, reset your password. All right, I'm going to go ahead though and show you how you can create a profile if you've already installed the app and you don't actually have an Access profile. It's just something that we probably should cover in case that you have students or others, faculty, librarians, with any questions about this. So if you have gone ahead and installed the app and you don't have an Access profile, go ahead and select Create Profile along the bottom. And this is actually going to walk you through the process of creating your free Access profile. And again, this is the same profile you will use on the web. So I'm going to first select Continue. And what you can do is search for your institution. Let's say I'm faculty at West Virginia University. All right, here we have an option for the WVU libraries. And then I'll select Next. And here you can enter in your credentials, your name, and your last name, followed by your email address, and this is usually your institutional email address. I'm going to use just a fake email address, and then I'll follow that up with the username for my account. And then once we are satisfied with our selections, we can go ahead and select Next. And we'll continue with the process here to set up a password. It must be 8 characters long and include a special character. And then, of course, we will re-enter that. And then once we are satisfied, we will select Submit. And at this point in the process, we can personalize our Access profile, the same that you would be able to more or less in the web version as well. Here we can select our profession, and you see our list here, so student, resident, program director, librarian, and many other options. We do ask that you read and accept our privacy policy and terms of use, and we make more links available to you at the bottom for our privacy policy, our terms of use, accessibility, browser support, and then we can select Create Profile. We'll go ahead and continue. We are taken back to the login screen, and here we can sign in with our newly created Access profile. So I'll go ahead and enter in my username and password. Now, once you are beginning to set up your profile and log in here to the app, you can personalize your profile. You can also do this if you have an existing profile. You can come in here and make edits to your profile. Keep in mind that you can also, if you see in the upper right where you can skip for now, these are actually preferences that you can update at any time in your profile, and I'll show you how you can do that. So first off, who are you? Maybe you're a first-year med student, you're faculty. How do you like to learn? And you can choose from different options here: books, book chapters, images and figures, quick reference, audio visual, and all of these other options available to us. Also, what are you interested in? So these are typically your sort of fields of interest or specialty. And again, you can select from multiple options. All right, we'll select Continue, and we are now in our profile on the Access app. Now, one thing to point out here, what we have done is we have actually set up the Access profile and the app on what is called a grace period. And during the grace period, you will only have access to Access Medicine content. And so if your profile is not yet institutionally authenticated, or that is connected to your institution's subscription, the user will need to validate their profile during that 7-day window. And it's much the same process that they would need to re-authenticate their profile on the web every 90 days. And so that would be navigating through your institution's website online, or your VPN, your intranet. Maybe it's a learning management system. That's very common, again, for a lot of our departmental subscribers. A lot of PA programs, pharmacy, physiotherapy, they subscribe that way. And of course, other options, very common, are through your library website. Or of course, you can also go to campus and if you're on campus, you're within an IP range usually. You can connect to the network there, and that will also affiliate you with your institution's subscription and authenticate your profile. Now, a couple of other notes as we scroll on the dashboard app here in the grace period login of your Access profile. Again, you will only have Access Medicine content available to you until you validate your profile and connect to your institution's subscriptions. So if you are a user who travels among different locations, you go to a medical center, a hospital, a clinic, you have an appointment at a university, you have dual appointments, a lot of faculty and clinicians tend to have this. So if you inadvertently connect to a different institution's subscription, all you have to do is sign out, go through the web, and you can sign in again online to your home institution. For example, your library website, your VPN, your intranet, and that should reconnect you. If, however, you are connected onto a guest network at a different campus or clinic, then that would not change your affiliation, as the guest network would not include access to purchased subscriptions. Now I'm going to sign out of this sort of fake profile that we set up, and I'm going to actually log into my personal Access profile that I use every day. I'm going to sign in. If you'll bear with me just a moment here. Alright, and here we are. You can see this is my personal Access profile. And you'll notice that green message up at the top now says that I am authenticated for another 89 days. And that is the typical authentication window before you need to reconnect to your institution subscription. The app will send you a notification. The desktop, the web version, will also send you a notification when you need to reconnect. I'm going to close off that message. And if we navigate to my profile app settings in the upper right, you can just click the icon. Alright, this does give you more authentication details. You can select Learn More. This will give you some additional tips for how to navigate to your institution subscription if you do have any questions about that. And keep in mind, along the bottom, we do have this About Access feature, so you can also contact support. That includes the customer success and technical support email addresses. You can reach out to us directly for any help. And also here in your profile, you'll see this option to update your preferences. And so this is where you can come back in to your existing profile and you can edit who you are. So resident or faculty. You can edit how you like to learn. Maybe you want to add in all of these options. And of course you can edit again what areas, what fields of medicine you are interested in. I'm going to navigate back to the dashboard. You can select the dashboard icon in the lower left. Back on our dashboard, another quick note just to point out is by our August 2023 official launch of the Access app, we should have a syncing enabled between your profile on the web, the desktop, and here in your app. So any kind of history, favorited items, saved items, folders, or collections, search history, etc., that should be synced and saved between the web and your app experience. From the dashboard here, users easily can navigate among the app's features and content. Again, you can jump to your profile settings in the upper right, but also notice how you can easily select to start searching for content. We have our search layer along the top and bottom, and you also can navigate in the lower right to your library with all of your collected content, and you can jump back to that at any time here from the main dashboard. As you scroll down the dashboard, you will see quick links out to your favorites and your downloads. And again, you can browse through your recent collections. So these are your different folders of saved items, your collections of saved items. You can also browse your recently viewed content, including a link to view all. And here you can easily navigate back to any previously viewed content. And notice in the upper right, you can select the tool to clear all of your recently viewed sources. And as we scroll down the dashboard here, you can see further recommended content to you. And again, this is based off of your preferences set in your profile. I have some cardiology, neurology, hematology content here. And this is going to recommend books and other resources available to you in the app. We do have a new edition of Atoms and Victors that has published recently, and of course a lot of other content that you'll see. And from here you can continue to jump into these different resources. This would allow you to see the different chapters and sections of these titles. And we'll take a look more at some of these titles shortly. But for now I want to jump back to our dashboard. Also, as we scroll down, you'll see other new content. And again, this is based on your preferences. This is going to show you new features in these areas that you've selected. So one of mine was neurology. I may see cardiology another day. And you can scroll some popular book chapters. These are among all users of the Access Medical sites. And again, based on those that are in your preferences. So you'll see running themes here of those that I've selected. And you can jump out to view all of these as well. This gives you also an idea into some trends. Alright, at this time, let's go ahead and select our library found in the lower right corner. And you can see that it highlights as we select it. And here you can view your favorites, downloads, and your collected items. And so you'll see here all of my favorites that I have listed, figures, books, book chapters. And you can also edit these favorites. You'll see the tool in the lower right pane of each item. This will allow you to add a note. Okay, we can add in our note there, select add, and then you see it there on screen in that small blue box. Now we can also, on the same token, we can jump in and edit that note after we've added it or remove it. I'm going to select cancel. And you'll also notice where we can remove this item from our favorites. And we do get a confirmation there. I'm going to jump back now to our downloads. So you'll see there that I don't have any downloaded content. So let's go ahead and search for an item really quickly just to add here to our downloads. I'm going to just run a simple search on hypertension. And we'll go ahead and scroll here. Here's a book chapter. And you will notice this plus icon in the lower right. And from here we can select to download. It is downloading. We get the confirmation on screen. And again, these are cached downloads. They're only available offline in the app. So it's not something that will be saved locally to your device. I'm going to jump now back into our library, and you see that in my downloads, that item, and you'll see that you can also remove this from your downloads. And as we scroll down our library, you'll also see all of your collections. We used to call these folders, but these are all of your saved items that you can add here to any collection. So for faculty, maybe you are preparing a lecture for an upcoming course. Maybe you are preparing a course for the upcoming term, And you can scroll through the Access app, you can search for content, and you can actually save items to these collections. But this is just an easy way for you to save content on the go on your app. And again, it should sync to your web experience as well. And you'll notice the plus icon. This is how I can create a new collection. Okay, and we can even add in a collection description. And here you see our new collection. And you also can edit these collections or delete the collection. Another tool in your library is this View Later folder. So maybe you're just saving content, you don't know where you want to put it yet. It's not necessarily favorites, it's not something you're organizing into a collection. You're just going through and saving content. You can throw it into a View Later folder, or other scenario that you imagine where you maybe are just browsing, you're reading content, you come across something that you like but you don't have time to really sit through and read it. You can just save it here in this View Later folder and come back to it at a better time. And one other thing to point out, and you'll notice this throughout the app, you'll see the icon in the upper left corner of each item, that little green icon. You see the book item there, quick reference, book chapter, figures, tables, infographics, videos. They'll all have a little symbol indicating what that item is, a little symbol, and then of course a quick tag of what that item is. I'm going back now to the dashboard, and let's take a look at search. Okay, you'll see at the bottom there the search tool is highlighted. I'll just quickly go back to the dashboard and select my search tool at the top, and it's the same thing. Now I can clear this search just by selecting the X, and now I can run another search. We'll stick with our theme of thrombosis. You'll see here the auto-suggest that appears, and that helps to guide your search. You see the total number of results at the top. You can also click back in to the search layer. You can add in additional terms. You'll see that the auto-suggest adjusts as well. Now you can also highlight in here. You can select or select all. This will give you options to cut, copy, replace, or even look up the term. From here you can also filter. Alright, so you can just select any item type. Notice the check mark that appears out to the right. And then we can select apply, and it will parse our results. You'll see the filter tool on the upper right is now highlighted and darkened in purple, I should say, and it shows you the number of filters that you've applied. You can see our results have dwindled down to 33. So to remove any filters, just pop back in, uncheck them, and then apply. As you scroll in the results, more results will continue to load. You may notice that a short little loading icon briefly. You'll see our search term is highlighted. And notice that with any of these items, again, the tools in the lower right will allow you to save an item to your collections or to your favorites. So this pulls up all the collections that you have. We can select done, and you'll see I actually already had that item in my thrombosis collection, but we'll add it to our new collection on neurology. And of course you can also select to add that item to your favorites. And as we saw earlier, I'm going to jump up to a book chapter. You can of course use the plus icon in the lower right on the item level. You can add the item to your favorites from here. You can save it to a collection. Again, that pulls up your collections. And of course you can download it, and you can also share the resource. So this is a limited sharing tool, but this does allow you to share through text or email, some other communications media, and this does follow our policy for sharing. It's usually available for 7 days or 100 views, or if it's emailed, 7 days and 50 views. And a few more tools to point out to you here. So in a chapter, for example, you'll notice the scroll bar along the top where you can see the full chapter, or you can just jump directly into the figures or the tables. That's just for your ease of access. Now you may also notice the search tool in the upper right. This is the search within option. And you'll see the number of instances that this term appears, and it looks like it's highlighting in orange the current term, 1 of 5, and we can use the arrow keys to scroll down to the next instance of that term in the title. All right, some other tools you have here include, of course, to increase the size or decrease, and then the return key just returns you to the default setting. And then you have a checklist here where you can actually jump out to view the full book. All right. So this will allow you to navigate other chapters and resources within this title in which this particular chapter appears. You can also jump to previous and next chapters. Now, if we go back to our search tool, as we've been discussing throughout the session today, the Access app does feature a robust content library, which is much more than what you had available to you through the Access Medicine app, which was more of a point-of-care tool. This new Access app now includes, again, books, book chapters, figures, images, tables, infographics, procedural conceptual videos, podcasts, and content from our differential diagnosis tool. So it does cover the full gamut from teaching and learning to clinical practice. And so if you wanted to view, for example, some of our audio-visual material, there are options to select from any in your search results where available. We'll view this on deep vein thrombosis. We'll play the video. And I'll pause that video. I do just want to point out that you do have options in the lower right. This will let you adjust your playback speed. We know that that's something that your students really like. You also can turn on subtitles. All right, there's an option in the upper right. You'll see the icon there with the speaker that you can mute. And then notice that you also can play within a screen here in the upper left, and you'll notice that it now has put that item screen within a screen, or a picture in a picture. So just some cool tools available to you there. So I do encourage you to search and make use of the filter to really find all of our different types of content. For example, we have our diagnostic tool here, and this will of course show you related content to really help facilitate your differential, and you can of course click out to those links, and again that facilitates your diagnosis, and this will just continue to take you to other content searches here on the Access app. And I'm going to go back now to my dashboard, and that is just a quick look at the Access app, some of the overall features, tools, resources, functionalities that are available to you in this new, really comprehensive mobile learning solution. Excellent for teaching and learning. It brings content to your students right here on their phones, or of course they can use it on their iPads or tablets as we've discussed. All right, I'm going to now close out of the app. Thank you for tuning in to this video, and we will continue on with our session.